when you start to shift your mindset to thinking of how can I be a legend builder? How can I make myself a legend? What is my legacy going to look like? Not only in myself, through my kids, through what I do, through what I touch, through how I serve people. When you start thinking like that, I think you start taking pressure off. Welcome back to Aspire Higher with Charles and Yvana. Thank you guys so much for your support, and always, thank you so much for subscribing.
Oh yeah.
Liking our channel and downloading it. It means so much to us. And please continue to share our channel with other people that can grow and also aspire higher.
Yeah.
Now today, Charles, I am so excited. Why? Because we have family in the house.
It's always good when you can have family in the house. I mean, not just people you call family, but fam.
Like
actual family.
Fam.
Like,
That's actually a pretty
like blood.
funny pun, because he went to fam.
See what I'm saying? Fam.
Yeah,
And we family.
you know,
Little connection.
All right, shout out fam you.
We have a rattler in the house.
Yeah,
My brother, Brandon
again.
Hepburn from FAMU. But
Yeah.
even more than that, Charles,
Yeah,
tell
sure.
this man. Tell them about what he does.
I understand what you're saying.
You
Yeah, tell this
understand
man.
that?
I'm going to tell you
Tell
then,
this man
since
who
you
he
want
is.
me to
Tell me.
you.
Yeah,
Okay,
they don't
all
know.
right.
I don't
All right.
know.
So
They don't
since
know.
you don't know who you are, I'm going to tell you who you are. This is a wealth management advisor.
Come on.
This man is a former NFL athlete.
Woo!
He is a philanthropist.
Yes.
He is a father. In fact, he has more Father of the Year awards than any other father I know.
Really?
Appreciate
And
that.
he's
Appreciate
in
that.
his 30s, early 30s.
Appreciate
Come on.
it.
But
7 years
no,
in a row, dad of the year. You know what I mean?
Dad of
Hold
the
it
year.
down.
But he's incredible. No, honestly, I love this man. And I tell people all the time, and I tell him all the time, how proud of him I am. If there's a man that you want to look up to, not just because he's huge, he's really,
Absolutely.
really
He's like
tall.
6'5",
Yeah, and this is
10.
his lean self.
This is
Holy
ridiculous.
crap.
Former fighter as well.
Yeah. Oh,
Yep.
yes.
Come on,
He
bring
almost
all
had
the
Golden
accolades out.
Glove, but
Yes.
COVID stole it from you.
It was tough. You know what I mean? But
Oh
it's all right.
my
It's
gosh.
okay.
Yeah,
He
so
was on
man's
his
got
way.
hands too, but nonetheless, I'm proud of him because who he is, what he's done in his
Yes.
life, with his life,
Yeah.
and he's trying to change bloodlines and legacy. So
culture.
without further ado, Mr. Brandon
Woohoo!
Hepburn.
Thank you so much. So gracious, so gracious. Appreciate it, Charles. Appreciate it, Yvana.
Yeah, man.
I'm so glad to be on the show.
Yeah,
Watch,
we're
Aspire
glad.
Higher. We just taking it to the next level.
Yeah,
Always,
that's right.
always.
You gotta
That's what we
always
do.
aspire higher, man. You know, I laugh. You know, and my laugh probably sounds crazy right now. Anybody watching or listening is like, this doesn't sound like Charles. I know, I sound like a robot.
Yeah,
But
it's okay.
but
You
we
sound
were
good, though.
traveling,
Yeah.
so I got a little sick, but we had the trip of our life, so it was
did, we
incredible.
did.
But beyond that,
Yeah.
my man Brandon. So Brandon, tell us, what have you been doing
Yeah.
in the realm of what you actually do?
Yes. So I am an advisor. I
Yeah.
work with a major financial institution, and I advise clients. So I
Yes.
help them in 3 different ways, right? I help them to accumulate wealth. I help them to protect that wealth. Then I help them to allocate it in a tax efficient way. So it means a lot for different people. We're
That's
building
right.
generational wealth of what I
Yeah.
do and my partners. So we like to sit down, understand our clients.
Right.
I believe
Yeah.
I can assist the clients I understand.
Right.
Right? Same way with a coach. You
That's
can
right.
be able to talk to somebody if
Come
you
on.
understand what their strengths are, whether
That's
it's
right.
going to be a speed rush, whether it's going to be speed to power, or if they're just going to be able to club and rip.
Mm.
It makes a big difference.
Right.
So that's the same approach that I take. And I think a lot of what God has showed me and walked me through in the game of football is very translatable to what I do now. So been where I am for 5 years now, and it's been a blessing.
Wow, that's so cool. And I love your journey. Brandon, your journey, first of all, I know you, okay? And to have transcended your time in each season that you served is one of the biggest things. And a lot of people don't understand what it's like to transition and pivot into purpose.
Yeah, bro.
We're gonna talk about that because
That's what this is about.
I honor someone that can sit here and that still is here and can attest to the fact that their testimony involves being able to overcome, being able to transform through not only identity in athletics, but now that you're in business, you are literally taking on a new role, a new position, and you're breathing life into it. You're not just saying, all right, I got to do what I got to do. It's like, no, I'm going to serve and I'm going to serve well. And I respect that.
Yeah, and I think that's why we want you, if you're watching and you're listening really quick, we're going to jump in really fast because this man is really in high demand, so we don't have much time. So for your sake, that's going to be good because I'm going to go right into the topics. So for him, he has actually transitioned out of the NFL. So start there, because a lot of our viewers are former professional athletes, coaches, business leaders. What was that like for you? Because it wasn't the dream.
It wasn't. So I grew up, just like a lot of people listening, I want to play in the league, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants that 10-year career. You want to win 2-3 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
You want your name up in lights, you know what I mean? You want to go to Canton, Ohio.
Yeah.
You want to be, you want to be canonized there,
Yeah.
right?
That's
right.
That wasn't my
Yeah.
story. But God blessed me in a situation where I was a walk-on at FAMU,
Wow.
right? I was a walk-on. I didn't start till my senior year
I
in high
remember
school.
this.
And I played D-line. I was a 3-tech, you know what I mean? At 215.
Yeah.
But at that same time, God blessed me with a lot of success, and,
Yeah.
and that's a part of the process.
Right.
The same way you graduate from high school, the same way you graduate from college, you graduate from the game. Nobody plays it forever. And guys that understand that are the ones that are able to transition well.
Come on.
Guys that wrap their
Come on.
all in their entire identity in a season.
Yes.
That's where the hard part comes. I take
Yeah.
a lot of inspiration from the word, right?
Yeah.
As you know, we talk about it.
That's right.
We pray and we get into the word. And understanding that David was not always a shepherd. David was not always a warrior. David was not always a king. There was always seasons for it. Then he's an advisor to the next king, Solomon. So if you stick in one season when God is promoting you to the next, you're not in the right fit. And this one, I don't think I even shared with you guys. I had this reoccurring dream about a year. So it was 2017. I had worked out for Tampa and I worked out for Oakland, right? And it's a lot like acting or if you're, in LA, if you hustle hard enough, hopefully something falls into place, right? This time my wife had our second daughter and I couldn't be out of the house like that anymore, right? I didn't have that same availability or freedom. I knew, what does it look like for me to chase my dream, but then sacrifice my children or my wife and my relationship for what, another 2 years, maybe graduate from practice squad. Now you're on the active roster. Maybe get out there for a few plays. Maybe you end up hitting, but how is that going to affect my children when they need me the most? What's worth it? The league is going to keep going on, right? It was there before me. It'll be there after me. But the idea of me being there for my kids and understand the legacy we're building, the most important.
Yeah.
So graduating from the game meant I'm no longer a slave to that. I'm no longer in them chains, right? You still working, right? There's still a lot of guys I talked about today, and some guys that I've seen God work and the Spirit move for them to transition from this is all I am to this was a part of who I was.
Come on.
And that's the point where it's like, it's a mosaic of your story. That's one piece of the puzzle. There's a lot more there. You're going to be 80. You're not going to be on the field, right?
Yeah.
Who are you then? And if you stay where you were, you're not going to be effective where you are.
Come on.
So tell us a little bit about that. How did that work for you? Because you did it, you pushed, you made it on the active roster, you got your name in lights, so to speak, but it didn't pan the way that it was supposed to, like you just talked about. Can you talk us through what you were going through mentally, emotionally during that piece of time?
Yeah, the hardest part is the push, right? So you're pushing, especially somebody that was on practice squad for a couple of years.
Right.
So you want to get there, right? I was drafted in the 7th round. I wanted to be in the 2nd. I thought I was good enough to be in the 2nd, right? Especially coming out of FAM, I'm competing against guys from Florida State. I'm competing against guys from Oklahoma or Alabama. And I'm like, well, they can tackle like I can tackle. Oh, well, how did you do against other competition? But I said, I'm not going to be judged by my performance against people that either never played the game, that were from families or situations where it was a lot easier to judge guys in my situation than to be a guy in my situation. You look at black coaches in the league today. So you say, okay, well, how many of them actually played? How many were water boys? We ain't gonna talk about no names, but there's some guys that are head coaches right now that in
The
this
organization,
state,
right.
in this state.
Understood.
And I say to myself, okay, well, if I sell myself short and just, if I become who they say I am, then they're always going to be dragging that chain. They're always going to be dragging that chain, right? And I'm just going to be going along with them by the neck, by the feet. And there's a lot of guys that stay there. You got to break those chains off. God didn't create anybody to be a slave. Paul said if we're going to be slave to anybody, we're going to be a slave to him, a bondservant to serve others.
Wow.
So that's what I do now. And it really clicked for me when I understood that that was one season.
Come on.
And that's why I say graduate from the game. You can't stay in college forever.
Yeah.
And if you did, there's something wrong with you.
Wow.
At a point, you graduate so you
Right.
can do the work that you're designed to do.
Right.
It's
Right.
all about seasons. And that
Right.
season was fun while it lasted.
Yes.
Now it's different. I'm able to
Yes.
talk to a lot of guys. I've done some conversations, have some clients. And it's awesome to see it resonate because a lot of what I do helps them, helps their family, helps them understand who they are beyond the game.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. You said something really powerful there about the I am.
Yes.
And that's identity.
Come on.
But what you said that I really caught, and it's something that I remember I struggled with in my life in the past, and we write about in our book, The Flight of Your Life, The Power of Propulsion.
Yeah,
But
fun.
sincerely, we talk about how we are oftentimes trapped by allowing other people to have too much power in our life. Being defined by, like you just said, what they say you are.
That's right.
Versus who you defined yourself to be. But
Come
you obviously were able to separate those entities and then push into something that some people may have thought never was going to happen for you. Yeah. Can you speak to our audience about that? Because that's a real powerful piece right there.
So it's really understanding what God says you are.
Okay.
Right? If you read through the word, whether it happens to be a prophet he speaks to or a king, he called the shepherd a king with David. We'll just keep it simple, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, well, if you only thought you're a shepherd, if you only thought defending sheep from bears and lions was your job, you want to be the best at that. Absolutely. Maybe, especially with us in America, right? It's capitalism. So how can I monetize this? How can I double down on the sheep? How can I make sure genetically altered, make sure they produce a little more fur, make sure the lamb chops are extra good, make sure I got a little barbecue season in there. Maybe it was chemistry. So, you know what I mean? Just in case got the barbecue gene. I'm going to double down on this one thing when it's one small season. Right. And you got 4 or 5 to go.
Right.
But we stay there.
Right.
No, I got to make sure the grass is cut really well. I got to make sure it's appeasing, right, to the other people. My father who owns it. I got to make sure my club is bigger, right? And you get so inundated with the minutia of one season that you don't see the big picture.
Correct.
So for me, God really revealed that to me, and it wasn't overnight. It was tough.
That's what I want to know.
I had to realize that it's not on what somebody else says I am, but it's on who God says I am.
Yeah.
And who God says I am is overarching, but it's also seasonal. It's also conditional. I wasn't always a father. I wasn't always a husband. But you got to train for that.
Come on.
Right? Then as I am a husband, how do I function now different than what I did as a single man?
Right.
As a father, how am I functioning now as a father and husband than I was as a single man? Yeah, I was a parent, but there's some things I could do as a single man. Some time I didn't have to account for.
Absolutely.
That's different. Now you got somebody you're accounted to.
Responsibilities. That's right.
And we all know the bad examples, right?
Yeah.
But are we, as men, living up to the right example?
Come on.
Right? It's real easy to point out, he ain't doing it right. He ain't doing it. What about you?
Right.
No, we're not talking about me right now. We talking about him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so I take that upon myself and I say, okay, let me make sure I am the change I want to see. Let me make sure that I am the person that God has designed me to be in each and every season of my life.
Come on. When you talk about first of all, you just talking is like,
yeah, absolutely.
It's amazing. I mean, from birth till now, to see you transcend not only your image, but like your mentality, your mindset is absolutely beautiful. And I respect everything that you're saying. And I know where you're coming from. I understand what it was like, throughout each season. I went through those seasons with you. I went through those seasons by myself. Yeah. And when you talk about purpose and when you talk about being responsible and maybe being stripped from one role to the next role to the next, how did you not fold? Because a lot of people would break because they held on so tightly to what they always wanted or what they always believed that they were going to do. And sometimes in life, when you're blindsided, I mean, that's it. Yeah. So how did you even manage that?
It was I don't know if it was like quite the steps of grief for me, but I did get to the hatred part.
Yeah, the hate. Talk about it.
I got to the hatred part pretty fast. So, like we were talking about fighting. A lot of what I did, like Johnny Rivera and the guys at the Rock Ministry, awesome, right?
Okay.
Shameless plug. Right? Awesome, internationally known. And even when I was boxing and Johnny was training me, I had all this aggression, right? I had all this aggression I wanted to get out, and I had to release some of it. So a part of that is who I am as a warrior, right? A part of that is who I am as a man.
Absolutely.
But I understand that like a lot of it was that it's this idea of giving something up. Y'all remember the movie The Planet of the Apes? The new one that came out, right? Rise of the Planet of the Apes and stuff. Mm-hmm. So when Caesar would come by, the other monkeys would bow down, right?
Yes.
They did their handout.
Yes.
But that's a lot of what we do.
Yeah.
We get a handout just so the next person, the team, right? Whether it's, okay, what's the point of the Olympics? The point of the Olympics is to prove that one nation is better than another.
Right.
It's the idea. That's why we all wear the flag. It's not about your family.
Right.
No, it's not.
Flag. Okay.
Correct.
I hating on it, but whether it's Hitler's Olympics or if this Olympics, that Olympics, like
those had major.
Look at our country. Look at what we can do. Bring your money here, right? I'm in wealth management. I get it. There's a flow of money, and we want it to be with all with us, none with you.
Yes.
Of course, there's some healthy competition, so we don't get into problems. But that's the idea. It's this game of pickup sticks. So at what point in time do you start saying, all right, what is God picking up? What's going to last in the end? What, like we were talking about in the lobby, what's going to actually survive the fire? Versus what am I just putting on top as chaff?
Yes.
Let me accumulate as much money as I can. Let me get all the stuff I can. Let me get all the houses I can. Wait, that house that I bought was $400,000. Oh, now it's worth $600,000. I guess I'm worth more. That's your net worth, right? Oh, what happens when the market crash? Or what happens in the housing? Oh, now it's worth $300,000.
Right.
So is it I'm up, I'm down, I'm
Or is
I
that the
am
market?
whatever y'all say I am, because it's by consensus.
Yeah.
If you and I say this bottle of water is worth $100, she says it, she says it, somebody else says it, now it's worth $100.
Yeah.
It's the same $2 bottle.
It's the same thing. That's true.
Yeah, we saw that when we were traveling. They sold bottles for like
I'm serious, but guess what? That's how a market works.
Right.
It's all about common consensus. So do you go by the world's consensus, or do you go by God's?
Yeah.
So my streets paved with
Go ahead
gold.
and
So why are
preach.
you so concerned about it? It's hard to see,
Wow.
right? But at the same time, if we believe what we read, then we got to live like it.
Sure.
So to me, it was that idea of who I am, going back to identity, right?
Yes.
And understanding, like, I believed I was one thing,
Yeah.
right? Athlete. I believed I was
That's it.
one thing,
Yeah.
right? Linebacker. I believed I was one thing, like eagle or cowboy or lion. I believed I was that one thing. And I said, okay, let me bring glory to the organization. Let me make sure, not consciously, it's real subconscious, right?
It's
Can't embarrass
subconscious.
them, right? Got to make sure I'm looking good, because we all know the shame stories.
Yes.
Guy in Sports Center, oh, he doing that. Oh, that's crazy. This, that, and the third.
Yeah.
How many other college kids, because he's 22
Right.
or
Come on.
24,
Not aware of life
Yeah,
as it
that's
is.
right.
that are doing the
Super-
same
yes.
thing with way less notoriety.
Come on.
Okay, I get it. But there's a company behind you that makes a lot of money.
It does.
And even if it's the owner of the team that does something crazy like that, swept under the rug. Don't worry about it. So to me, I had to realize, okay, God, who do you have me to be? And
Yeah, that's
who
right.
you need me to be
That's
today?
right.
Yes.
So that was the biggest thing for me. It was
Takes a
like
lot of
really
courage.
going back to the identity. And I still do it.
Yeah. Of course.
You know what I mean?
Come on.
Because some people get caught up. Oh, I'm an advisor. I'm a financial advisor.
Come
Right?
on.
If you ever think of when somebody meets somebody in America,
We
it's not like
talk
that
about
all
this
around
all the
the world,
time.
right?
Yes.
They say, okay, well, what do you do?
That's the first question.
What do you do?
Yeah,
And we
Size you
challenge
up,
people from the
level you.
stage, and
Yeah.
we always
Yeah.
say, because when we go to events, we ask, who are you?
Yeah.
And there's a story, not to interrupt
go
you,
ahead.
but that's a great story. I was sitting at a table one time, and this man walked up to me. I can't remember how many years ago it was, and he didn't ask me, what do you do? He didn't say, where you're from. He said, who are you? This is the only question he asked me. And now I can speak, but I was really caught off guard because I was like, who are you?
Yeah,
Like I said,
yeah.
I don't even know you. But at the same time, I took that as a life philosophy, and we use that in our practice quite a bit, because people don't identify themselves. They identify what they do.
Yes, yes.
And their identity is wrapped in what they do. And as you just got through so eloquently presenting, if it happens to change, are you, or were you always only what you do?
Yeah.
Come on.
No, you are more than what you
That's
do.
right.
That's
That's
what
right.
you've been saying this whole time. You've always kept a consistent understanding that you're more than what you were doing in any season.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to stress to you. You are more than your employment.
Come on.
You are more than your position.
Yes.
Yes.
You are more than your payment.
Yes.
You're more
Yes.
than your bank account. All these things, forget what people tell you. They're not a scorecard. You should be keeping score with self, if anything.
Come on.
Am I the person that I really want to be?
Right.
And am I becoming the person that can sustain the things that might come into my life that I've been valuing everything around me on?
Yes.
That's totally different.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate what you say, because I'm really
Absolutely.
listening. And I hope that you as a listener, if you're on our podcast listening and you're driving, take note of that. If you're watching, of course, really, really think about what we just got through saying there.
Right. And, there's people that are maybe in retirement or approaching that, or maybe they've climbed to the pinnacle of their careers that are like, I did it, and they rest in that. And I think there's a identity crisis that happens for many people, not just buying the thing that makes them look better or driving the thing that makes them look cooler or less older, but it's the moment in the heart to where they can't let go.
Right.
They can't let it go. They did that thing, they accomplished it 10 years ago. There's athletes still running right now on a track that I know of, superstar athletes, that need to put the spikes up.
Yeah, they should have left it a long time ago.
Left the game.
Yeah, but you can't.
You can't leave the game because it's anchored. That root of identity crisis really is real. And one person might say it sounds good, to kind of just allow myself to pivot and transition into my purpose.
Right. All
But
that sounds good.
It sounds great, but where are the tools?
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask
They don't
you.
know the word. Where are the tools? Where's the system? That's what I've understood about clients too. When I'm coaching them, I understand there are some loopholes that are there.
Yeah.
And they have been at a disservice in life. Their employment's been a disservice to them. The league has been a disservice to them. The Olympics have been a disservice. The ministry. There's so many systems in place that have literally not served their employees, their athletes, their whatever you want to call it well. And I believe that when you start doing that inner work and just being quiet, silence who you think you are. Just silence it And if you start feeling that tug of war or that feeling of like itching, like I know, relax, just relax for a minute and be in tune with the moment where you can say, you know what, even if I lost it all, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. And I'm willing to develop into who I'm going to become. But I'm not going to hold on to these things so tightly anymore because it does grip people. And I see these people in my life and I'm just like, God, like there was even that when you come from the NCAA and you go into the league, what kind of preparation do they give you?
Right. There's
About
really
how to handle your money,
Right.
not just sign an NIL deal. It's not good enough anymore.
Right.
That's not good enough. When you think about even that, okay, well, I got my degree. I'm going to go into the workforce.
Yeah.
I'm going to have the big office,
Right.
right? The things and the dreams that you talked about, who prepared your mindset for, okay, when they maybe let you go
Right.
or maybe they take your position away, you're going to be okay, right? Who prepared you for that?
Right.
Who prepared you for that mindset? And I think that's the hardest thing that I'm seeing with a lot of people out here is that even post-pandemic, people still don't know who they are because they don't want to do the work.
We are
and they
literally
don't
in
even
the
hear it.
season where people are trying to find themselves.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Still.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially in our age group.
Yes.
Millennials, you know what I
Sure.
mean?
Oh,
And I
my
feel like
gosh.
we're a group of people that didn't drink the Kool-Aid. Like
Yeah,
you see
I
it,
often say
yeah.
that.
For sure.
Yeah.
For
you
sure.
see it through the time. And like think
Yes.
about Poppy, like that was our
Yes.
granddad, right? He lived to 83 and he was an innovator. He was an entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur.
You know what I
on.
mean?
Multiple.
And like
Yeah.
even him, Poppy was a mechanic, right? And he was like my hero growing up. Like he was my
Mine
father
too.
figure. He was
Yeah.
right there beside me. Like he was watching me go on the school bus, watch me come off the school bus like Forrest Gump. He was amazing. And I always knew he would, even though he wasn't a mechanic at the time, really, we had like 5 cars in the back working on all this.
Yeah,
But I mean, like that wasn't his day to day, right? He
Right.
was retired. He
Right.
still would have his mechanic shirt on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
He still
you're
would
right
have
about
it.
that.
He still
You're
kind of
right.
smelled like motor oil a little bit.
Wow.
That's funny.
But it's like
Wow.
so many people get wrapped up in
Come
just their
on.
identity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That they don't transition into what is now.
Come
Now,
on.
I'm not saying he didn't. He did
Right,
that
but
poorly.
you're just saying
Right,
the
right.
habit
Even
was
him.
still
Right.
there.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's a lot of people from that generation. You know what I mean? Like whatever their work was,
Yes.
that's who they were.
That's
Yes.
right.
But
Right.
there's something that happens to us, at least
Yeah.
here. I don't know how it is in other places in the world, but in that sense, we weren't like that as kids. Like as a father now, I get to see it. So like Simone, she's not like that. Right. I don't say like Simone is dancer or Simone is public speaker.
And that's your
or
daughter, of course.
Simone,
Right.
Yeah. Or Simone is student. Right. Same thing with my other daughter, Autumn. Right. Or my baby boy, Elam. Like,
Right.
so they're kids and their identity isn't wrapped up in work yet.
Right.
And nor will it be.
Thank you.
So understanding what we thought as a kid. Right.
Yeah.
Like even when I asked them, it's not who you're going to be. It's like, what do you want to do for work?
Right.
That's really it. Work is one aspect of life.
Right.
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 But we all say like, oh, God, family football or God, family, you know,
Right.
like
Whatever,
career, whatever.
fill the
You
blank.
say it, but you don't really
Yeah,
mean it.
people
Yeah.
don't really believe
Yeah.
that.
If you believed your identity in God was bigger than your family, what would you do? How would you live? If you believed that your role as a member of a family, father, wife, right,
Yeah.
mother,
Mm-hmm.
is bigger than your work, how would you act? How would you function?
Mm.
But we flip it. It's
Of
work,
course.
who
All
I
the
am.
time.
Like,
Right.
then it's okay, maybe God in there somewhere. Maybe
Yeah.
my family's first. I spend more time with them, not doing the word. I
Right.
spend fasting or praying, and we get out of line. So that when that false God is broken down, when
Right.
the job gets lost, the company shuts down,
Absolutely.
your role gets downsized, something you can't control,
Yeah.
Correct.
right? You're like, oh, well, what am I? Well, I guess some people commit suicide. Some
Yeah.
people fall into addiction. Some people,
Yeah.
because you lost your
Yeah.
God,
Come
Yeah.
on.
right? Everybody's like that. You lost your way of life. Your
Yeah.
way of
That's
life
right.
is wrapped
That's
up
right.
in this one thing.
Yeah.
And when that one thing is taken from you, because it will be taken from you, God will have no seconds.
Yeah.
Right? Now what? Yeah,
That's
he invites
right.
you to turn to him, but you want to turn to the next thing.
That's right.
Mm.
And even with that, it's like I envision a basket of eggs and you're holding it all. You have your salary, you
Yeah,
have
hold it
the
tight.
car, you
Yep.
have the fence, you have the house, the pool even. You have these things. And then the hardest thing is when people don't see God's scissors at the bottom
Yeah,
of
because
that
he'll
basket.
cut the bottom of that basket.
Cutting the net of that basket
Right.
so it falls completely out.
Yeah.
And
But-
then what are you going to hold on to?
Or
What?
even worse, the eggs were rotten all along.
Oop.
You just couldn't smell it.
Woo, now that right there is the word. So, but
You
that's
go ahead, eat it. See how it tastes.
take it on home.
Wow.
Take it on home. But that's what I want to say.
That's
But I have to be honest. So let's imagine that someone's listening, because truth is someone's going to hear this and they're thinking, but that's the reason why I don't serve him,
That's true too.
because I don't want to keep going through this.
Yeah.
What do you say to that? Because the truth is we missed the point that oftentimes God is developing the person.
Yes.
Correct.
They were trying to develop their platform.
Come
They were
on.
trying to develop the things that they thought were supporting them. But he's
Come
like,
on.
bro, sis, ma'am, daughter, I am supporting you.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right.
I
That's
actually
right.
was the one who gave you the eggs in the first place. I knew when they were going to expire.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what would you say to someone in that case if they're like, well, that's exactly why I don't put my faith in anything other than me? Because every time I've ever had something, the bottom of it gets cut out.
Why do you think that happens?
And that's what we're trying to find out.
Right.
Yeah.
So for that person, I would think, do you think you can always hold this together? It's the Job story, right?
Mhm.
I got everything just like I like.
Yes.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
My family, got my
Yeah.
wealth, got this.
Yeah.
Or I'm the man that continues to build up his storehouses. I got enough,
Yeah.
but what if this happens? I'm going to buy more. You're tempting God.
Mm.
Because you putting your deity, whatever it happens to be,
Right.
above him.
Mm.
Okay? It's not going to work.
Mm.
Okay, this has been working. Has it always worked for you? There's way more that we cannot control in this world than things we can.
Sure.
There's way more that happens in the market than things you can plan for.
That's
and then when it hits you, what do we call it even in insurance? An act of God.
Yes, right.
true.
It's
An
written in the
act of
contract.
God. So
Right.
what
in the
happens?
contract.
Right.
But when it happens so regularly, hurricane, earthquake,
Right.
a flood,
Right.
a fire,
Sure.
downturns in the market, things you don't expect.
Right.
I've never met a single client. I have not been in a single situation in life that said, I planned for that.
Mm.
Each and every one, I planned for COVID. I know
Come on.
exactly what to do.
Right.
I had a
Yeah, yeah,
contingency
yeah.
for that. I planned for this. No.
There's no way.
So either you trusting in yourself or you're trusting God.
Come on.
There's no
That's
in
right.
between.
Yes.
Or you trust in something else.
that's right.
Yes.
There's no in between. But that other thing will fail you.
Yeah.
The way that God kind of explained it to me, it's like you're leaning on this cane, right? But the cane is splintered. Trust is an idea of reliance,
Absolutely.
right?
Like a
I'm
chair.
relying on it.
That's right.
Yeah, like a chair. I'm
Right.
having faith in it, right?
Yeah.
I'm really
It's gonna
leaning
hold
on
me
it. I'm
up.
sitting
Yeah.
into
That's
it.
right.
It's
Full
holding
weight.
me up, but it never was stable.
Yeah.
And if you looked at it, how many times has the market had a downturn? How many hurricanes
absolutely.
have
Oh
there
my
been? How many?
goodness.
Because it
Right.
didn't happen to you. It's
Yeah.
never gonna happen.
How many
Right,
dreams
right,
did
right.
not come to fruition?
Right.
How
Yeah,
many people
and then
lost?
what you gonna
Yeah.
do in that?
Yeah.
You still living and you still breathing.
Yeah.
You're still supported by God, but you don't want that, right?
Mm.
You want control.
Yeah.
You want something else to put your hope in,
Yes.
something else to put your faith
That's
in.
more
Yeah.
tangible in your mind.
Yes,
Come on.
that you can see, you can feel, you can touch, or so you think.
You think?
Right.
Because
Until
even
it-
money is not real.
Yeah.
It's in the
Oh, it's
bank.
not.
It's a digital.
Absolutely.
It is.
It's just
It
a
is.
number in a
Overnight.
computer.
Trying to tell you, it's
Yeah.
just a number on a screen.
It's literally just a
Every
number
day,
on a
some people
screen.
jump out of a window for a number on a screen.
On a screen.
That's it. I can write 10 million in a number behind the screen right
Yes.
now.
Right.
Does that determine your net worth?
No.
Is that how much you mean to him?
Is that how much you mean to anyone?
To yourself. No.
The reason
right.
why I challenged that is because I wanted to make sure that we did a great job of adding value to the person who thinks that way. Because
Absolutely.
what we're really saying is it's in the title of our stories, in the title of our podcast, our YouTube, you have to have higher aspirations.
That's right.
What I'm hearing from you, because what I love is that you could have talked this whole time about football. You could have talked
Or
this whole
finances.
time about finances.
That's right.
Every turn of the conversation, you talked about faith.
Yeah.
What you were saying is that I aspire to something that is beyond me.
Yeah.
I aspire to something beyond where I live and currently can live, breathe, see.
Correct.
I'm aspiring eternal.
Yeah.
I have my sights on what goes bigger than this life. That's what I hope, especially you, if you're listening or watching, you gather from what we're trying to say, is that all of us want things. We have dreams, we have goals, and you've heard our stories. Many times it just doesn't work out the way we thought.
Correct.
But it doesn't mean it's not working out in your favor.
Come on.
You just need to see inside yourself that maybe, just maybe, God is trying to get you to see beyond those things. Because as quickly as they go, really think about what I'm about to say here. You probably got them back, didn't you? Because they can come. They can go, they can come. So it's nothing for your life situation to turn to a positive. But when your mind is not dictated about what you do, how much you have, whether it's gone or whether it comes, you're at perfect peace because you're sustained by something that goes beyond you.
Correct.
So we want to challenge people to have higher aspirations.
Yeah.
Can I jump in on
Yeah,
that?
go
You
ahead.
have
I
to.
think
Of course.
so. Of course, as a fan of the game, I always loved football growing up, and like still, I love the game aspect. The business is a whole nother story.
Right.
Never turn people into commodities. They're not to be traded. They're
Right.
not to be. They're people.
Come on.
But what I was going to mention is like a couple years ago, J. Cole came out with a documentary called For Your Eyes Only, right? So it was a really good documentary. There was one person on there that spoke to the faith more than any other single depiction I've seen. She was a janitor. She was working at like a high school. She was taking out trash. Very simple, taking out trash. J. Cole came and talked to her, and she was explaining her life situation. She had lost her daughter. I think her daughter was like raped and then was shot later in life.
Wow.
She had lost her son, and all she can talk about was God. She said, even despite all that, like I still trust him.
Sure.
I think she adopted a daughter after that, showed her a lot of love, and her contentment is something no Super Bowl gets you. I think she's more content than Tom Brady if you see his life.
If you really see
but
his
everybody
life.
want to be him. I want the 6 rings,
Yeah.
right? I want to
the multi-millions.
I want to be whatever I see on TV.
Yeah.
It's a false god.
Yeah.
No diss to him.
Right.
He could turn
Right,
at any
right.
moment,
Right.
but is it
Yeah.
worth losing your wife and kids? Is that worth it? What is the trade? I look at trades all day long,
Yeah. you
right?
do.
And I say there's going to be a winner and there's going to be a loser. Every single trade.
Every single trade.
In order for something to go up, something must come down. That's the way it
100%.
works.
Yeah.
So I say to myself, well, what am I trading? Right? If I trade it all for a ring, if you work hard enough, right?
Yes.
And you're in the right situation, you'll most likely get it.
Yeah.
If you're determined, you put in the work,
That's
you know
right.
how it works.
That's
Okay,
right.
you'll get it, but is it worth having?
Mm.
Look at all you sacrificed.
Yeah.
Look at the people you forgot. But what if all that was taken from you, just like it was Jesus? Right? Would you still trust God?
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't get better,
Come
right?
on.
Even if it gets worse in a time frame,
Yeah.
would you still trust him? Would you believe that he's going to resurrect what matters?
Yeah.
That he's going to bring it to life, that he breathed into it, right?
Yeah.
That you may feel like a valley of dry bones, but yet if he breathes into life, he'll bring it back.
Yeah.
That's something the league can't do. That's something no
Oh.
amount of money can do. That's something that no job can do.
That's right.
That's something that
That's
no
right.
house can do, no car can do.
That's right.
So why put your faith in any of the other stuff? The Lambo ain't gonna help you.
It's not.
Telling you, the mansion ain't gonna help you.
It depreciated as soon as you
I'm
roll
telling
up.
you
I
right now,
mean,
yeah. Or the
Lost
stock
its
ain't gonna
value.
help you.
Yeah, it ain't gonna
Come on.
help.
Best equity portfolio.
Yeah.
The best alternative.
Right.
It ain't gonna save you.
Right. No, it's so true.
I'd
And
say you shouldn't have them.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like-
right. You be smart,
They're-
be wise, be savvy, be
and
responsible, be
shrewd.
shrewd.
Absolutely.
It's a tool.
Absolutely.
Right? You have
Absolutely.
the tools so you can use it.
That's right. That's right.
That's
I
a
love
great
that.
point.
Yeah. And, I remember as you were talking, there's something behind you that looks like a little globe. And in that little globe is like a little plant and has a little bit of dirt, but it's like a clear circular globe. And this little thing had reminded me of when I was in my own bubble in 2016. And I've mentioned it numerous times, but there was a point where I looked at God and I said, how can I trust you if you took away the one thing I love the most?
Wow.
The one thing I love the most. You knew I wanted this, right? And weeks, months, a year went by. And I said, if I ever trust you again, I don't know if I could trust you to this level because it hurt. And this hurt feels like a thorn that just keeps going deeper and deeper the more I see the Olympics, the more I see the track meets, the more I see my friends, associates even. And I remember feeling an empty feeling of, but if I put my trust in anything else or even in myself,
That's right.
will it even hold weight? Is it strong enough to bear if I'm disappointed again?
All
Yeah,
other
'cause
ground.
it will-
Come
it
on.
will
Right?
all-
You
Come
think about
on,
the
come
hymn,
on.
all other ground. Because think
Yeah.
that means it starts here, right?
Yeah.
When you first believe it.
Yes.
It starts. Just ask anybody if they won the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
If they won a Super
Oh,
Bowl.
I talked to them.
If they you got a lot of them,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Friends, right on the birds, right?
Absolutely.
How'd you feel the day after?
Come on.
Wasn't what I thought.
It wasn't
Empty.
what I thought.
Right?
I've
You
even
talk to
heard those
anybody.
words.
Yes.
Yeah.
They
Talk
literally
to anybody that
said,
said it
I
was
did it.
better than
Right.
no.
Yes.
The struggle, the fight,
Oh
the
my
teammates,
God.
All
this, to going up to it. Then we win. Oh, it's the best feeling in the world. How you felt 48 hours afterwards? Well,
Thank you.
Nothing.
the ring was cool, but it was like sinking sand.
Yeah.
Right?
After that.
Yeah. And if
But if
it's
you think
fleeting,
about people to put their trust in God,
Yeah.
it
That's
gets
right.
It
better
just
That's
and
right.
better.
increases.
That's
That's
right.
right.
The count
That's
may
right.
not get better,
Come
right?
on.
The situation may
But
not get
my
better.
life
The
can
job
be
may not get better.
I
on.
am.
I'm better.
Come
That's
on.
right.
So I'll take that trade.
Yeah.
That's
and I
right.
understand that advice what comes, but it's
Yeah.
like, which one do you really want?
That's right.
Mm.
That's right. And he'll shift you into a bigger purpose. And even from that situation I was expressing, I found myself on different platforms I didn't even ask
That
for.
you would have never even
I wouldn't
seen
even, I
for
wouldn't
yourself.
even, I didn't go to school for some of this stuff. I didn't ask for it. I didn't want it. I just wanted to run and I wanted to make it to the Olympics. That's it. And then when I started seeing I'm a greater vessel on bigger platforms I never
Yes.
even wanted, but he gave that to me.
Yeah.
He trusted in me when I couldn't trust in him.
Yeah.
That's deep.
Mm.
And I started saying, you know what? I'm not going to hold anything ever in life this tight again.
Absolutely.
I can't.
Yeah.
If I have it and I lose it, I
Fine.
bless him.
Bless.
Amen.
If I have it and I lose it, I praise him. If I have it and I lose it again, I'll be a little sad. But I'm still going to bless him.
Yeah.
You have it,
Because
you
he's
gain
faithful,
more.
man.
Right.
Use it.
Come on.
Yeah, will I
Come
trust
on.
him?
That's the
Lord?
thing
Come on.
sometimes. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's easy to trust them at the
Yeah.
bottom. It's hard to trust them at the top.
Yeah.
Right?
Woo.
I work with some
You think, I'm
clients I know.
serious because I
already
work
know.
in this world of wealth,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah,
in my
speak on
role,
it.
there's a lot of people with a lot of money.
Yeah.
In the last team I was part of, right? Very high team with the private bank. We had some people 3-4 million,
Right.
3-4 billion,
Billion.
and billion.
B.
with a
Yeah,
B.
you almost made a
Billion.
mistake
You
saying
almost said
with a B.
Billion.
Yeah, with a B.
Correct.
And not all of them. Most are cordial, right?
Yeah, understood.
Right.
They think they God. What else I need?
Yeah.
I was just.
I mean, you think about the GDP of a small nation. I got that. They need something. They come to me. So how you feel? Didn't Lucifer feel the same way a little bit? Right. I'm not dissing them, right? I'm just saying in general, right? What if that's you? What if that's me?
And that's the mindset.
Shut up. Like, hold on, God's chair look kind of good. Let me step back. You ain't got to worry about it. I got this one. I got this one today. Brandon Almighty. Don't worry about it. Right? You sit back there in that pride, right?
Yeah.
And you realize how little you're actually in control of.
Come on. Come on. That's deep. That's deep.
So it's like trusting them at the top is a little bit harder. At the bottom, everybody know we need them. Ain't
right,
no atheist in
right.
Fox
It's a
Holes,
struggle.
right?
It's hard.
It's like, I know I need them because I ain't got nothing.
Right.
But when you have everything, you know what, that person needs something. I remember how that was. And it ain't philanthropy, right? I like that term. But it means like, oh, I got X amount of, I got 100, I'll give 10 cents. Now, for the man with a penny, that's a lot of money, right? But to you, to God, he knows you.
That's right.
He gave 100.
Yeah.
He gave Jesus, he gave all of it, bankrupt heaven to make sure we
could have
us.
Come on.
Could have more than enough.
Dang.
So how am I gonna be stingy? How am I gonna? And it's hard.
Yeah,
Like, it's hard. It comes about
extremely hard,
way sooner than I expect, and with a deeper degree than I could tolerate. Right? It's like, no, I got to, because when you do that, and you see it time and time again, like that's what history remembers, whether you're Mother Teresa, whether you're Dr. King, like you're not doing it for your own profit. You're not doing it out of your 10%. You're giving it all.
That's right.
And that's exactly where we were hoping the conversation would go, because that is the highest of aspiration. And we talk about that in our book. There is an impact that you are prepared for. There's literally a mission that you've been given. The problem with life is I always tell people, I feel like it's almost like that movie we saw, the Pixar movie with Jamie Foxx. What was it? The cartoon? Soul. Well, you know, you're sent here, but you don't know what it is that you were made to do, because your memory, so to speak, of what that was has been erased. So the job is for you to find what impact you were made to have. So you have to start setting higher aspirations. What will you be remembered for? Not in the sense of your tackles, not in the sense of your gross GDP, as he said, your huge bank account, because really think about it. No one remembers anyone for any of those things when they're gone. I'll never forget. God bless him. May he have peace, of course. My man, Kobe, when he passed, my best friend was like, just really think about it. When he passes, no one's going to be talking about him. He comes up in conversations, but when he's gone, no one's going to be talking about him.
Continuously.
It's
just passed. He says, one more week, you watch. We're going to be talking about LeBron again. And when he goes, guess what? We're talking about somebody else. What are you going to be really remembered for? I can't really talk about other than his Mamba mentality. I want to talk about some of the things he did. I want to talk about what he was trying to do before he left, but he ran out of time. Some of us also think we have endless time supplies.
Ample time, right.
So I just wanted to say that I understand where you're going, and I appreciate that, because it's true. We have to remember we are having to think beyond this life.
Correct. Yeah. And I think when you start to shift your mindset to thinking of how can I be a legend builder? How can I make myself a legend? What is my legacy going to look like? Not only in myself, through my kids, through what I do, through what I touch, through how I serve people, right? Come on. When you start thinking like that, I think you start taking pressure off.
Yeah.
I don't even think you add pressure. I think it's like, wow, I kind of now can see through a bigger scope, and I can appreciate every single thing I do can also contribute to what the bigger picture is when I'm gone. And some people are so afraid they don't even talk about death. They don't want to talk about it. They ignore it, but it's real.
It's real.
There's a season for everything, right? Time to live, a time to die. It is what it is. But how you live your life, the mindset that you have, the things you're willing to sacrifice to make yourself whole, to make your health whole, your mind whole, you know what I'm saying? Your well-being whole, so that you can start thinking about how can I build legacy with my life? I'm 80 years old. It's not too late. I'm 60 years old. It's not too late.
As long as you got breath,
I'm 10 years old. It's great time. Every single moment you're alive is a great time to start thinking like that. And that is the true testament of aspiring higher. A higher mindset, an elevated mindset.
Transcending your image.
Come on. And it will transcend your image. The moment you start thinking like that, your whole image is transcended.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Transfigured even, I would say.
Yes. I like it.
That's amazing, man. Well, you did a great job. Brandon, thank you so
you
much for
so
letting us steal
much.
you away. I mean, this guy was literally at a conference today. We got to drive him back to a conference that he has to finish
Come
tonight.
on.
So we appreciate
Bless
you.
God for your energy.
Thank you, guys. Thank you both. Thank you, Charles.
Absolutely.
And thank you, Yvana. Thank you.
Of course.
I appreciate y'all so much for blessing me and allowing me to be on the show.
You got it.
Of course.
Well,
of
guys,
course.
thank you so much. Follow us, like, subscribe. Of course, you can find my man, Brandon Hepburn. Where can they find you if there's any way you want to talk about finding you?
Right? You can find me. You can find me on Instagram.
There you go.
You can let's see.
LinkedIn.
Yep. You can contact me on LinkedIn. Most definitely. And yeah, you can contact Charles. He can get you in contact.
Yeah.
There you go.
He's
knows
hard to get in
someone that knows
contact
someone.
with. You understand, but we can make the contact happen. Thank you. Until next time, this is Aspire Hard with Charles and Yvana Bailey.